I guess you say what could make me feel this way. My girl, my girl, my girl, talking about my girl and Breakfast with Bob. Woo!
Yeah. We are brought to you by HOKA on Polar, Halo Neuroscience, Velofix, Today's Plan, Normatec, Four Seasons Resort, Hualalai, Triathlete Magazine, and we're a beautiful Huggo's on the Rocks, one of my favorite people on the planet and one of the greatest coaches in the history of our sport. Please give it up for Siri Lindley.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be here because he's one of my favorite men on the planet.
Wow.
So, Bob, it's always a thrill. And
Wow.
I know, again, my mom has written you a check to ask me on the show.
Absolutely.
To build my confidence.
Mom
Thank you.
is one of my favorite people. So I was lucky enough to get invited by Siri to a presentation she was doing for Tony Robbins.
Oh, boy.
And that was eye-opening to me. You were unbelievable. Just hour and a half presentation, brought the house down, standing ovation. And one of to me, the story that really resonated was you were world champion. Your goal in life was to be world champion, 2000, 2001, that whole era. And Olympics is a couple years away, but you know what? My goal is to be world champion. I've done it a couple times now. I'm moving on. I'm going to coach. Talk a little bit about you're going into 2004, and you're coaching a woman. There's Barbara Lindquist, there's Sheila Tormina, and oh, by the way, the woman you're coaching, who nobody was thinking was going to do anything.
Yeah, Susan Williams. And one of the greatest challenges of my career as a coach, she was so feisty and so determined to not only make the Olympic team, but to win a medal. But what resonated with me so deeply is that nobody really thought about her. She wasn't considered.
And were you sort of a rookie coach at that point?
Very much so, yeah. I started coaching in 2003, and when she came to me and said, I want to make the Olympics, but she was, I don't know, maybe the 6th or 7th ranked American. And I said, well, what are you willing to do for that? You're going to have to leave home. We're going to have to go to California. It's winter time. We got to train for 3 months. You're going to have to leave your daughter at home with your mom and your husband because we don't have a lot of time and there's a lot we need to accomplish. And at first she said no. And then she called me the next day and she said, Siri, I cannot believe that I'm going to do this, but yes, let's go. And it's like, okay, well, I guess we're both moving out to California. But hey, it paid off. And someone that wasn't even considered not only made it on the Olympic team, but she ended up coming out with the bronze medal.
And
in
really,
Athens.
besides Gwen Jorgensen, the only American, right, to get a medal. And who got the gold that day?
Gold was Kate
Allen.
Kate Allen.
And who got the silver?
Loretta Harrop.
Who coached her?
Well, Brett had coached her. I got to give him most of the credit, but she came to me about a year before the Olympics and said, hey, I want to kind of coach myself, but I want to collaborate with you. Help me win gold in Athens.
So you got silver, bronze.
We kind of did, which was pretty freaking amazing.
Amazing.
But they did it.
Right.
I was just, I played a role, and it was such a privilege to be a part of their journey and to help them bring out the best in themselves, and definitely something I will remember for a lifetime. It really helped me grow as a coach to take on those challenges.
So then you've got a gal named Mirinda Carfrae who is thinking of 70.3 Ironman distance. She's never done one. You've never coached anybody going that long. Sounds like a marriage made in heaven.
Exactly. She was a basketball player.
5'3" basketball player. That's not going anywhere.
Right, but I saw something in her that I recognized from my own experience as an athlete, and that was that hunger. Hunger is everything.
She wanted it.
She wanted it. And it's not just about wanting to win or wanting to be the number one athlete. It's got a way deeper meaning than that. Like, for me as an athlete, it wasn't about wanting to be a world champion. It was that I knew that if I took on something that felt impossible and I was able to achieve it, that I could finally find a love and an appreciation for myself, which had been lacking for a lifetime. And that's what I found on that day.
Yeah.
And I think for Rinny, that's not her story, but her hunger came from other sources. And it was so deep and so intense that I knew that whatever we decided to focus on, she was going to make it happen.
Well, she had worked so hard as a basketball player, harder than everybody else, but had limitations. 5'3". First time she did a triathlon, she ends up qualifying to go to Canada and compete as a junior. And she's like, light bulb, this sport is for me, and I'm willing to do what it takes to get the next level. 2009, she gets second, first time out here, to the great Chrissy Wellington, who in 2010 is going for her 4th win in a row. And ironically, sort of like Daniela Reef going for her 4th win in a row. And on race morning, she pulls out. Chrissy Wellington pulls out, and Mirinda is like, what do I do now? Yeah. And what did you tell her?
That gives me goosebumps because I can feel myself in that moment. She's like, Coach, what do we do? I said, nothing changes.
Nothing.
You race your race. We're ready to race your race. Nothing changes at all.
Yes.
And it's in that moment when you remember, you know, when you're nervous and it's race day and all these things are happening, it's just like take a deep breath and remember, what's your plan? Our plan has always been race my race. Nothing changes.
And then she wins.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, greatest moment in my life up to that point, because sharing that with an athlete that I was working with, I mean, it was way more exciting than my own world championship.
Really? So it meant more to you than winning yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, there's something about giving outside of yourself and having a greater purpose than just you.
Right.
And every athlete out here on this course is, they're working hard to be the best that they can be, but they also need to understand that they are setting an example for others. They are a role model. They're inspiring others to take on something that seems impossible. And so when you keep the focus on giving outside of yourself, it's so much more fulfilling and amazing.
So in Rinny comes back 2011, another podium, gets second to Chrissy, and I know she was bummed after that because she felt that, you know what, especially when Chrissy retired. Yeah. She let it get away. She lost by a couple minutes. She never got another opportunity to get Chrissy. And at the end of the day, you want to race the best. And I think it was hard for her. And then when she went off that following year, 2012, left you.
Yeah, that hurt.
Left you, that hurt. But you coached Leanna Cave to her first Ironman World Championship, and Rinny was behind, right? So then Rinny comes back to you in 2013, 2014. 2014, what, she's 14:30 down off the bike. Where were you during that race when she's that far? And the nice thing is, even though she's 14:30 down, I think she was like in 8th place. So she's already top 10. Yeah. And you know she's going to get top 5. But did you have a sense she could still win?
1,000,000%. She went by me at about mile 1, and I'll never forget the look on her face of kind of like, you know, the word I want to say.
Yes.
That I won't. And I said, Rinny, you are in perfect position. And she looks at me like, what? But I don't even know why that came out of me. But something inside of me told me that being in that position was the best position she could be in to truly unleash what I knew she had, which was her best run form to that point.
Yeah.
But it also, it caused her to change her thinking. And instead of thinking about how far behind she was and how bad it was going, she started thinking, well, why in the world does Siri think this is the best position? She's thinking about all the solutions, not the problems.
Yes.
And coming up with her own solutions and reasons why I would say that, because I know, I mean, the great thing about Rinny is I know she listens to everything that I say, and I appreciate that so much. So she would have tried to find what I meant by that, and that led her into a mindset that was truly empowering and led her to just, you know, getting into her rhythm and running her way up to the front.
Running 250.
Yeah, exactly. I was like the greatest moment ever to see her find that, because it was that mental. She overcame a huge mental hurdle that could have destroyed her in that moment. But instead, she found her strength through that and discovered that she had so much more than she could have ever imagined inside of her.
So when I've been watching, and like I mentioned, Chrissy Wellington won 3 times in a row, unbeatable. Sounds a little familiar. Daniela Reeve 3 times in a row, unbeatable. Everybody's picking Daniela to win. And here's Mirinda. Oh, fastest bike split of the day. You start looking at little stats, and you're going, oh, I'm just here. I'm a mom. And, she's ready, huh? She's ready for something great.
The greatest thing about having a Daniela Reef is that they constantly give you something to work towards. You know, it's like the 4-minute mile. Or the 4-minute mile. Sorry,
Roger
I'm getting
Bannister,
confused. Roger Bannister, he does it, and then everyone's like, it's possible. So it's like, we know what's possible. Now, you know me, I think that anything's possible in the world because I've been able to prove that to myself at least. But I'm so grateful for athletes like Daniela who set such a high standard. And I have so much respect for her. And what's great about that is, as a coach, I mean, I constantly think that as coaches, we need to be demanding as much from ourselves as we're demanding of our athletes. We need to keep stretching and growing and learning and getting better at what we do. So that has helped me to really strive for more as a coach as to what I can deliver for my athletes, not just Rinny, but Kaisa, Sali, who's here. And I know with all my heart that we have done everything in our power to be prepared for everything. They're healthy, they're fit, they're stronger than ever, they're faster than ever. And it's going to come down to putting together as many great moments as they're capable of throughout the race and dealing with adversity with grace and with confidence and just racing their own races. And because I know that they are in that kind of form, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, I feel great about their chances. But there are so many tremendous athletes out here that I respect and I think have done the most phenomenal job. So anything can happen, but what we can be promised is probably one of the most phenomenal races in the history.
It's going to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for Siri Lindley?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bob, so much.
Macho Man.
I guess you say what could make me feel this way. My
Bob.
My Bob.
Sorry.
My Bob. Breakfast with
about
Bob. My Bob and
Macho
Siri.
Man. Woo.